Hi everyone. The problem now that we are going to solve involves the input table as emp info. This table has below columns emp ID, which is the ID of the employee, emp name, which is the name of the employee, emp location, which is the location of the employee, emp salary, which is the salary of the employee, and emp department ID, which is the department ID of the employee. So every entry represents information related to the employee. Now, as part of the output, what we need to do is we need to find the employees whose salary is more than their department average salary. So, for example, here we see there are two departments 100 and 200. So, for 100 department ID, these are the employees who are there. So, we need to compute the average salary and then identify who are those employees whose salary is more than the computed average. So, for example, Suraj, Prakriti, and Atul from the department ID 100 have salary more than the department average salary. That's why they are in the output. And similarly, Sudhir has the salary greater than the average department salary for department ID 200. So hope the input and output is clear as to what is expected. Now let's work on the approach that we can take to solve this problem. So this is the input table that we have, that is the emp info table. So since we have to find out the employees whose salary is greater than the department average salary, as a first step what we will do is we will find out for each of the department what is the average salary. So that will be our first step. So as we see here, since there are two departments, so for department ID 100, there will be one record created and we will find the average of the salary, which comes out to be 6,600 in this case. And similarly, for the second department with department ID 200, there will be another entry created, and for that, again, we will find the average, which comes out to 4,700. So, this way, for every department, we will find out what is the average salary for that particular department. So once we have that information, what we will do is for every employee, based on which department they belong to, we will go in this lookup which we just created and get the average salary. So this is the average salary that we have, we will get here. And similarly, for each entry, based on which department ID they belong to, we will go look up into this table that we generated and fetch the corresponding average salary. So hope this is clear. So once we have reached this step, it is very easier. Now we have the employee salary and we have the department average salary. So what we need to do is we need to simply compare these two columns. So based on that, we can identify who are those employees whose salary is greater than their department average salary, and who are those who are not having salary greater than the average department salary, so they can be eliminated. So this way we will find the output. So what we have done, let's just quickly recheck. So for each of the department, as a first step, we have identified what is the average salary. Once we have that information, for every entry based on the department ID, we have fetched the average department salary with what we had computed. And once we have that, we have simply compared the two columns to identify who are those employees whose salary is greater than the department average salary. So, hope the approach is clear. Now, we will work on to implement this approach. So, let's write the query to generate the output. So we will operate on this input table. So let's fetch the data from this input table, that is empinfo. So like we discussed, as our first step, we will find out for each of the department what is the average salary. So we will get the department ID column and we will use the average function to get the average salary from the emp salary column. Let's call it as average salary. And since it's a aggregation, we will do a grouping based on the department ID. So let's run and see the output. So we have completed the first step. We have got for each of the department what is the corresponding average salary. So we have done the first step. Now we will move on to the second step, that is, for every entry based on this department ID column, we will get the corresponding salary, average salary populated. So let's see how we do it. So what we will do is whatever we have generated, let's add it as part of a CTE. Let's call it as department CTE. So now what we will do is we will operate on the input table, that is empinfo. Let's give the alias as E. We will be joining this table based on the department ID with this lookup that we just generated. So we will do a inner join with this CTE, that is the data we just generated, that is department CTE. Let's give the alias as D and the joining condition is department ID. So employee department ID from the empinfo table, and from the department CTE we will use the department ID. So we have done the join. Now let's fetch all the columns from the employee and all the columns from the department CTE. So let's run and see the output. So after the join operation is completed, for each of the employee entry, now we have fetched the corresponding average salary in that department. So as we see, these are the columns from the input table as seen on the top, and the remaining two are the columns that we got it from the CTE based on the department ID join condition. So like we see here, now we have both information as to what is the salary of the employee and what is the department average salary. So if we have these columns, what we need to do? Simply compare and keep only those records where the employee salary is greater than the department average salary. So we are going to do that as a next step. So what we will do is we need to just filter the records and keep only those where the employee salary is greater than the department average salary. So what we will do is, in addition to this join condition, we will add one more condition wherein we will say that the employee salary from the empinfo table is greater than the average salary from the department CTE. So if this condition is satisfied, fetch the details. So we have fetched the required details. So as we see here, for this employee with department ID 100, the average salary is 6,600 and this employee has salary of 8,300, which is greater. So that's why this employee is in the output. So likewise, for every employee, their salary is greater than the corresponding average salary of that department. As a last step, we will keep only the columns that we need from the employee table. So this is the final output that we were looking for and we have got it. So let's do a quick walkthrough as to what we have done here. So for every department, we have identified what is the average salary using the average function. We have done the aggregation based on the department ID and stored it as a department CTE. After that, for every employee from the emp info table, we have done a join with this CTE, and based on the department ID, we have fetched the average salary and then done the comparison as to the salary of employee greater than the average salary and fetched only those employee. So this way we have solved the problem. So hope you found the video useful. If yes,
Like,
please like
comment,
the
and
video. If you have not
subscribe.
yet subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. The create table and insert statements will be added in the description. Please use it for your practice, and please share the video in your circle with your friends so more people can benefit. Thank you.